All right. Hello. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to make this quick. I just finished recording the video for today. It was also 2 hours, and I got to like an hour and a half, and I was like, "Oh, I should just shut this down because I'm not trying to make this a whole nother 2 hours." But it ended up being a whole nother 2 hours. It's fine. Anyway, so I'm just gonna kind of try to come on to this real quick. I am wearing a different shirt. Like I shower, y'all. I promise. I do put on the same shorts though, because it's like I change my underwear. I change my shirt every few days because I'm not going anywhere right now. So it's like but I'm wearing my brother's bar shirt, which is one of my favorites. It was free and I got it from a bar. Okay, so with these daily uploads, y'all, I don't know what they are. Don't ask me. It's I'm going through a journey right now. I'm going through a process. And I guess the daily uploads is about that. Oh, temperance. Love that energy. I feel like this is saying like take your time, don't rush things. If it's a long video, it's a long video. Hey Zelda. Earth's thinking about. What do you mean? Earth's thinking about. Earth's was a typo. Oh, I was like, whoa, what's that noise? Boom. How are you doing today, Zelda? Are you staying calm and centered? You work in the healthcare field, right? What are you thinking about? Was what I meant to type. What am I thinking about? Nothing specifically right now. I'm just like trying to get this done. I'm thinking about well, the cards that came out, Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. So I guess that's what I'm thinking about. Getting in my Beyonce energy, even though I don't have a lick of Virgo. Ooh, Six of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Even though I don't have a lick of Virgo in my chart. Ooh, the Moon. But yeah, nothing in particular right now. Yeah, at first I wasn't gonna do this, but then I was like, I might as well do it. You wish I had captions or subtitles available. I don't even know how that works, honestly. So I wish I did too for the folks who need it. I know High Priestess. I know the audio because I've been recording on my iPad, and so the audio is what the audio is. And like for the people who are at like work or something, but oh well, thank you. I'm glad to see you too. How's work? Because you work in a healthcare field, right? All right, this will be the last one. Then I'm gonna shuffle these out, and I'm gonna get moving. Ace of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles, which is two Pentacles. Love that energy. Okay, first card on the table. Ten of Cups. Oof. This will be interesting. So I'm going to be looking for the Two of Wands for the first decan of Aries. Ten of Cups followed by the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is looking at the Ten of Cups. But then the Five of Cups came out. And she's looking in the other direction at the Six of Cups. Oof. That's interesting. Seven of Cups. Okay, so all of the cups are going to be the first cards. Nine of Pentacles. All right, never mind. We have our first non-cup card, 7 cards in. And then we're in the Wands. Okay, all right. Let me move this down here. Can I fit one here? Yep. Ooh, Ace of Cups. So we start the row with the 10 of Cups, end the row with the Ace of Cups. That's interesting. I'm going to try to do this a little bit quicker. And then there's a Virgo. The Hermit sitting under the Five of Cups. Ooh, there's a Wheel of Fortune. I have not. Well, I guess I saw the Wheel of Fortune actually recently. But the Wheel of Fortune was kind of MIA for a while. King of Cups is sitting under the Ace of Cups. Oh, gotcha. You're a Virgo. You have your earbuds in the way so you can listen and work. Well, I'm glad you still have work. Ooh, Two of Swords followed by the Six of Wands followed by the Moon card. Somebody might be about to make a decision that they don't even know why they made. And it's not that they didn't know. It's not that they don't know why they made this decision. And then the Nine of Swords goes into the Ten of Swords. But it's just like followed by the Six of Swords. This is an interesting row. There's a lot of interesting things going on. Things are moving and changing. But it's like I think they're going to make a decision that surprises even them. Four of Cups is sitting on top of the Ten of Cups, with the Eight of Cups sitting on top of the Queen of Cups. So that's interesting. And then there's the Four of Wands sitting on top of the Six of Cups. Hey, there's the Star. There's the Star, followed by the Fool, followed by the High Priestess, followed by the Sun. What? Star, Fool, High Priestess, Sun. Followed by the Chariot. Oh my gosh. Followed by the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. And the Seven of Pentacles is sitting on top of the Hermit. So the Hermit was like, yep, slow this down. That was moving a little too quickly. I was like, okay, well, whatever. But then there's my Six of Pentacles. So we go from the Seven of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles, which is interesting. With the Nine of Wands sitting on top of the Wheel of Fortune, and the Knight of Pentacles sitting on top of the Five of Pentacles. So someone is slowly but surely making their way out of whatever they were in. The Knight of Pentacles is looking at the Three of Swords, though. The Three of Swords came out on top of the King of Wands, and then the Lovers comes after that, and that's sitting on top of the King of Cups. So this is interesting. Sitting on top of the Two of Swords is Karma, which is 20, judgment, fitting. On top of the Six of Wands is the Knight of Cups, and on top of the Moon is the Four of Swords. So that was the decision that someone's about to make that they don't even necessarily like. I don't think it's that they don't know why they made the decision. I think they're surprised that they actually finally made a decision. And sitting on top of that decision is Karma, the Knight of Cups, and the Four of Swords. Where the Three of Swords up here. So we go from earlier, it was the Knight of Pentacles into the Three of Swords, into the Lovers. Now it's the Knight of Cups into the Four of Swords, into the Hanged Man. And so someone's about to move. Either someone's going to create a new cycle. Is this for me? This is for, like, I'm laying out all the cards to do the thing for Aries. Second decan. So these are just like some energies going on in the background. And until I finish laying everything out, I just sort of comment on whatever like catches my eye or whatever. So if it's resonating for you, then yes, potentially. But yeah, this is interesting because someone's about to make a move. Someone's about to make an offer. But it's like they're in their head about it though. Because it's like either they're going to perpetrate. Oh, well, thank you, Zelda. You're too kind. Either they're going to perpetrate an old cycle with this karma card, or they are going to begin a new cycle with the karma card. And the karma card is sitting under the Sun, with the Knight of Cups sitting under the Chariot, and the Four of Swords under the Seven of Pentacles. So I don't know if they're going to move or not. I think they definitely want to move. I think they're still a little hesitant to move because this heartbreak is still there. I think they are healing from it because the Lovers comes after that, which is about a choice, right? And then after the choice is this karma. Do I go for something new, or do I do the old thing that I've always done that hasn't honestly worked out? And I feel like they reach a decision, so they want to move again, but then they're hit with this Four of Swords into the Hangman. On top of the Nine of Swords is the Devil. On top of the Ten of Swords is Temperance. So from the shadow side, from the Devil to the Angel. Goodness, and on top of the Six of Pentacles, or on top of the Six of Swords movement is the King of Swords. And then we have the Page of Swords coming after the King of Swords. So this is so back and forth. I don't know what's going on. And then we go from the Ten of Wands to the Two of Wands in the third pile. Oh, Two of Wands. That's what I'm looking for. Boom. It just came out. Okay. Nice. And then here's the Queen of Swords. I've been getting the King and the Queen of Swords so close to each other with this deck. So in between, this time they're not facing each other though. Usually the King and the Queen of Swords face each other, but now they have their backs turned to each other. Excuse me. And so behind the King of Swords is the Page of Swords, the Ten of Wands, the Two of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. So then after the Queen of Swords is the Two of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, the Eight of Swords, the World, and the Ace of Swords. So the King of Swords has his back to the Queen of Swords, and he's looking at Temperance, which is patience. And we have all these knights that want to move, but then they get stuck. He's looking at Temperance. She's looking at the Two of Cups. It's Queen of Swords, Two of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. She might be like, you know what? I'm done with dudes. Ooh, the Hierophant is sitting on top of the sun. I do love that. And then there's the Knight of Swords facing the Five of Swords, followed by the Nine of Cups and the Page of Cups. On top of the Knight of Pentacles is Death. On top of the Three of Swords is the Ace of Wands. On top of the Lovers is the Three of Wands. So I feel like, I want to do that too. But the Four of Wands was way down there. Yeah, I love that. Because I feel like with the Sun into the Hierophant, I feel like that's bringing a lot of light to a situation that may have felt like old, dry, outdated. It's like it's being renovated. Can you see them? I can take a picture of it and then show you. But I'm using my laptop, so it'll be interesting. Because when I stream from my phone, it's like sometimes it disconnects or it'll do things. I'm just like, really? For real? Let me edit this. Well, you can't see the sun under it because the Hierophant is sitting on top of the sun, but here is an image of the cards on the table right now. You see Death and the Page of Cups. There's the Hierophant on the right sitting under the Ten of Wands with the Five of Swords next to it and Karma below it. Yeah. This is how they're laid out right now, though. Oh, wow. That went like, oh, duh. And then you can see, so the King of Swords is facing Temperance after the Devil. That was interesting because it went like Knight of Cups. It went Judgment, Knight of Cups, Four of Swords, Hangman, the Devil, Temperance, and then King of Swords. And with the Page of Swords behind him. And then I went up to the top. And that's when you see Ten of Wands, Two of Wands, Queen of Swords, Two of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. So their backs are turned to each other, if you can kind of see that, which is interesting. No problem. So I think we are moving forward again. Okay, let's continue. On top of Karma is the Empress. Oof. On top of the Knight of Cups is the Seven of Swords, and on top of the Four of Swords is the Eight of Pentacles. So about this decision that someone is making, that might surprise them. On top of that was Karma, Knight of Cups, and the Four of Swords. On top of that is the Empress, the Seven of Swords, and the Eight of Pentacles. I don't know if I like that decision, because that almost feels like someone seeing how things are about to move for someone else. And so they kind of sort of want to come in and I don't think it's that they necessarily want to stop you. And this isn't a specific you, this is just general you. I don't know if they necessarily want to come in and to stop someone from getting their happiness. I don't think they're necessarily actively trying to play a role that is as a blockage. But I think with that karma, it's like it's repeating the cycle. It's like someone sees that you're doing good now, so they want to come back. They see that you're about to enter this space where you're thriving, and so they want to come back and they want to get some. And with the Seven of Swords into the Eight of Pentacles, I think they're saying that they're going to put work into it this time, but I don't know if they actually are. After the Eight of Pentacles is the Eight of Wands. So we got two eights. After the Eight of Wands is the Tower, and the Tower is sitting on top of the Devil. So if they're coming back because they see that you're like glowing and you're in your power and you're taking care of yourself, you're thriving, and if they want to come back and try to get a piece of that, if they haven't changed, I think this is going to fall apart very quickly. It's like you're going to know almost immediately if they're coming back to actually put in work or if they're coming back doing the same things that they were already doing. And going from the Eight of Wands into the Tower, it's going to fall apart quick. Justice sitting on top of the Temperance card, which is interesting, right? So it was the Hangman, which is the Eight of Wands. That's interesting. So we got swift movement on top of something that is typically stuck and still. Then we got the Tower sitting on top of the Devil with Justice sitting on top of Temperance. If this is a choice between two people, that's interesting. Ten of Pentacles is sitting on top of the King of Swords, and Strength is sitting on top of the Page of Swords. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards left. I'm just going to note what they all are. First card is the Magician, manifesting the Emperor. The Emperor came out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards after the Empress, and 9 is a number of completion. So that's interesting. Between the Empress and the Emperor is the Seven of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, the Tower, Justice, the Ten of Pentacles, Strength, and the Magician. And he's looking back at her. And she's looking at me like she don't even care. She's looking at me like she's already moved on and she's over it. And now he's reflecting back on the past, looking at her, trying to make something happen, finally getting the strength to go after what it is that he's always wanted. But with this Justice in this Tower, it's like, I don't know if he'll stack up. He might try to come in right. Tower into the Eight of Wands, it could fall away quickly. And then Eight of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, Empress. He might try to dip out. So if you don't set firm boundaries, I think he's just going to do whatever he did before. I don't know if you should try it or not. This ain't that kind of reading. These are just what came out. So after the Emperor is the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. It's interesting that the Page of Pentacles comes out right after the Emperor, because I feel like that's saying start something new. Something that you're actually passionate about and something that can actually bring forth everything that it is that you want. If you can't get what you want out of the person, then Like, why would you take them back? I don't know, but maybe they've changed. This is interesting though. So we are still in the top row. We were in the bottom for a while. And this time we're in the third layer. So in the last two, we were in the second layer, which is about the present, which is about choices. And this third layer, it's like we're looking at the future again. And so everything that we were supposed to like ruminate and reflect on, I don't know if this window is closed or not. Because it looks like with us being in the third row again, it's like we're moving. And if you aren't where you needed to be, then you might be left behind. Have y'all ever seen those? Okay, Zelda. Have y'all ever seen those Left Behind movies where they'll like, after the rapture, they'll show what the world is like? Oof, somebody might be left behind. Okay, all right. I'm trying to do this carefully and not pull away something that I need. Oh, sorry, Empress. You did not make the cuts. Doom. This comes up here. This goes down here. And this moves right here. So the Empress and the Hierophant. Oh, wow. So the Four of Pentacles, Sun, and the Hierophant pile. That's coming out. With this, though, I feel like someone who may have been closed off in the past has seen the light of the day. They've seen and they know what they want, and they're ready to come in and commit to something. And then with this pile, the Two of Swords, Karma, and the Empress. It's like one person has seen their worth, and they're moving forward accordingly, and that's why they're coming into this Empress energy. And so if you're sitting in the Empress energy, I don't think you're going to go back. And the Empress is what's left at the top of everything. So that's an interesting energy. Oh, this is going to be short-ish. Love that. Welcome back. Okay, so in the past, I have, two tens connected by 4. 10 of Cups. 4 of Cups. And then the 10 of Wands. 10 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. In the past. We're sitting in the future. So I think there was an area that used to fulfill us in the deep past that is no longer fulfilling us. And I think we're missing it. We might be missing it because we don't have anything in that space yet. And so, like, are you missing it because it was actually something good? Or are you missing it because you don't have anything right now and you're wanting something? And it's like, old moldy bread is better than having an empty stomach. And moldy bread won't kill you. So you can have a mold sandwich, right? And in the present, it's like either there was a lot of work that had to be done on someone's part in order to make this work. Someone is doing a lot of work right now, or someone is just feeling burdened and a little bit overwhelmed. This could be the energy of like, because it's like things are about to start moving again. And especially in the times that we're in, I feel like in these times, like there are going to be some people that it's like we might reach out to them just because we want to know if they're okay. Like we want to check in on them and make sure they're doing fine. And we might not necessarily want to continue things where we left it. But it's like, I did care about you at one point. It wouldn't work now, but I hope you're doing well. And that might be like weighing on our minds. Other people's well-being. At the bottom is the 3 of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the 5 of Swords. So I think this was a partnership that may have worked in the past, but now we're moving forward and we're cutting it out. Especially if it's really contentious. That makes so much sense. Yeah. especially if it's going to be a lot of drama. I feel like with the Five of Swords, that's like a lot of harsh words being spoken. And that could be like mentally and emotionally abusive and also a little manipulative as well. I feel like the Five of Wands would be a little more manipulative, and this is just like straight up verbally abusive. Oh, I don't like this. I hope somebody isn't going. I hope somebody isn't going to go back to a situation. I think the reason why this is happening now is I think it's just to cut it out. If someone was like verbally abusive in the past and they come back and you notice that they're verbally abusive again, walk away, cut it out because they haven't changed. Now, I mean, it's always a personal thing, right? It's what you're willing to tolerate um, and wait for. But with the Empress being at the top of this, coming out on top of Karma, and Karma coming out on top of that Two of Swords, I feel like that's saying to like stand firm in your decision. And that's why if someone comes back and it's not going to work, it's going to fall apart quick. With that Eight of Wands into the Tower, it's going to fall apart quick. Because if they haven't changed, you'll be able to tell. And it's unfortunate because with the Ten of Cups and the Three of Pentacles in the deep past, I feel like this is someone who it looks like it would have like really worked out with. And maybe there were also issues of like stability, like financial, material stability or health. And so it's like if you're in a relationship with someone and you love each other, but one person like gambles away all the money or they like overindulge in substances that aren't great for their health, or if they're like verbally abusive or something like that, but you feel like there's a lot of love there. And so it's like if you're thinking back on this connection at this time, I think it's like you're looking back on it with rose tinted glasses and you're not necessarily fully seeing the reasons why it ended up breaking off. And it's like if you talk to somebody about it and you'd be like, guess who like reached out to me today? Like this is what I would tell one of my girlfriends, right? I'd be like, girl, like guess who hit me up today? My best friend. I'd be like, girl, guess who hit me up today? And she'd be like, who? And I'd be like, this dude. And she'd be like, no, he beat you. He tore you down. He took all your money. Everything that you had going right in your life at that time, he came in and he ruined it. So don't tell me you're going back to him. Don't tell me you're going to accept it. Don't do this again. Two of Swords karma. Don't do it again, girl. And you're like, I don't know. Like maybe he's changed. Maybe he's different. Maybe he has changed. If he hasn't changed, you're going to find out quick. And if things haven't changed, cut it off, move on. Chariot into the Five of Swords. Cut it off, move on. And the reason why this is happening, it might be to test you in your new Empress state, right? Because if you come into this space where you are recognizing you're in your earthen throne, Queen of Pentacles energy, Empress, you're in your Queen of Pentacles energy, knowing your worth and not accepting anything less, then you're going to be tested. It's like this Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords test. Right? It's like, do you cut it out or do you pour into it? And look what's sitting at the top of the future, cutting it out. So, man, Mercury is still in the post retrograde shadow in this first decan. For most of this first decan, Mercury is going to be in its post retrograde shadow. So, I don't know if we're going to be getting some stragglers coming back from the past. I don't know. But it's just like to test whether you're like really in that. Because I feel like in this space, if you can sit in this space and then someone comes back to you and then you act accordingly, I'm just going to say if you act accordingly. So if the person has changed and if things will work out and you accept them instead of cutting them out, I think it's going to solidify that feeling for you, and you're going to know that you're in your power. On the other hand, if someone comes back and they say they've changed and they haven't, and you cut that person out immediately, it's going to solidify your power. Excuse me, right? It's like you inherited the throne, but before you can really sit in it and get comfy, it's like, you have to prove that you are worthy of the power and responsibility it comes with, or something like that. And you got the throne, but you can lose it just like that. Because we went right into the we went right into the 8 of Wands and the Tower, and both of those are like quick. Tower, 8 of Wands Tower is just like you wake up and everything is just like gone. And you're like, what? Instead of it like shaking and like things happening over time, it's just like boom. It explodes like right in front of you. And you're like, we haven't even been talking for a week yet. And yeah. In the present, we have the Queen of Cups. Oh my gosh. In the present is the Queen of Cups. In the future is the Queen of Swords. Oh, look at that. And they're facing in different directions. The Queen of Cups is looking back towards the past direction. The Queen of Cups is looking into the future direction. Like, look at that. Oh. Queen of Cups, 8 of Cups, 2 of Wands. That's all about moving on. And Aries is about doing something new. The Queen of Cups and the 8 of Cups are both looking in the same direction. I mean, she's like obviously looking in the same direction. She's like tilted in that direction. Right? And then the 2 of Wands is looking in the same direction. They're all looking in the same direction. So maybe this is saying that whether you should or you shouldn't go back, you're going to go back. Like it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This person is gonna come back. You had a 10 of Cups with this person. You also had a 10 of Wands with this person, but you're looking at the 10 of Cups with this person. I think we're gonna take them back, and we're gonna get an answer fairly quickly. So I don't think it's too damaging either way. But man, because they're all facing the same direction. But maybe not. Maybe you will choose. Maybe there'd be like a lot of people. I think there's going to be a heavy temptation to go back. But with the 8 of Cups and the 2 of Wands, I feel like this is really going somewhere new and leaving the past in the past. Let's go to the future. So in the future, we have the 5 of Cups. Oh, I don't like this. The 2 of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. So somebody might still be juggling. Somebody might come back and say, why is this about like a relationship? Because we started with the 10 of Cups. Man, I feel like I should do one that end about a relationship. 5 of Cups, 2 of Pentacles, Queen of Swords. Somebody might come back saying that they're done with somebody, but they might not be. Because I think they're still juggling. Right? Because like this person is looking at the 2 of Cups instead of the 3 spilled cups, but then you also have this 2 of Pentacles here. And so like maybe it's like, oh, they're not talking to that one person anymore, or that other person anymore, or that third person anymore, but they are still talking to the fourth person when they're coming back to talk to you, and they're trying to decide between you and the fourth person. Like they already left 3 people. So progress, I guess. But with that Empress energy, like this is you, like, you know what? You ain't gotta juggle me. I will remove myself from the situation. And then you can have the Pentacle. So if this happens, like I wouldn't feel bad. This is interesting. Left at the top is the Six of Wands, victory, the Knight of Cups, offer, and the Seven of Swords. Oof. What a journey. The Six of Wands is looking in the direction of the past. The Knight of Cups is looking forward. And the Seven of Swords is facing the past, but looking at me. Like, y'all see that? Like, looking back, looking forward, facing back, but looking at you. Man, his face is blurry, but imagine the smirk. If I zoom in really close, you can kind of see. I don't know. I'm going to pull some energy oracles to clarify this. I wanted to pull some of those anyway. I just forgot. Oh, I'm only at 36 minutes. I love this. This is not going to be an hour long. Whoop, 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 whoop. So, the Knight of Cups and the Chariot are in the same position. The Knight of Cups is up here, and the end goal, and the Chariot is down here, and the root cause. The Six of Wands and the Three of Pentacles are in the same position, and then the Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords are in the same position, which is interesting. Because I feel like the Three of Pentacles speaks to like successful partnerships, right? And so you have a successful partnership and a victory, followed by some kind of movement, followed by conflict or deceit. Five swords or seven swords. And in between the five and the seven swords is that Two of Swords, which is where this decision stems from. The decision related to karmic cycles that have led you to this position where you are in this Empress energy. Oops, something fell on the floor. Is this the Angel of Balance? Oh no, it's the Angel of Love. The Angel of Love came out upright. Oof. So this is about love. And the card that fell on the floor is Fifth Chakra, Archangel Gabriel. The fifth chakra is the throat. And we do have the Queen of Swords here. I'm going to pull two more for the top. So there's something about communication here. Okay. All right. I like that. So I think regardless of what happens, I think communication is going to be very important, and like honest communication. And somebody's feelings might get hurt. Somebody's feelings might get, I think this is like brutally honest communication, because we have the Queen of Swords here. And like, I feel like the Chariot, because in the root cause, it's the Three of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the Five of Swords. So it's like to see whether or not you can truly build with somebody else. Okay, Zelda. Hopefully, because I know things will probably start getting crazy for y'all folks working in the healthcare industry. I don't know if it's better to have work or to be like swamped right now, but at least you're making a difference, and that is amazing. I kind of wish I could be doing something to help a little bit. I wonder if is anything I can do to help. Okay, that's in reverse. But yeah, I think some brutally honest communication is going to have to be had. And it's funny because before, when we were still, I think when I read Aries season, it was like, I think there's definitely a difference between like brutally honest communication and like blaming someone and like trying to tear them down. And I think because it's like there's this precarious balance because we have the 7 of Swords and the 5 of Swords here, and also the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is looking forward. The Chariot is looking forward. The 7 of Swords is looking back, but the 9 of Cups is looking forward. There's a whole bunch of back and forth energy. This is back and forth. Do you go back or do you move forward? If you can move forward with someone from the past, that's different than going back. But I think there's some communication that needs to happen. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen. 5 of Swords and 7 of Swords after some movement. Angel of Love and 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. 5th chakra is the throat chakra. Gabriel is associated with fire. Michael with air. So that's like passionate communication. But if y'all are like passionately communicating because like there's this love that's rekindling, I feel like this is saying that like while you're also passionately communicating, also have some realistic conversation. Like, maybe like this is what went wrong last time. This is the space I was in last time. Like, okay, well, how can we keep you out of that space? How can I not be in the space I was in when things fell apart? I feel like it's talking about more than just like how much you've missed each other. And if someone is like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. Let's just like talk about where we are now. I don't like saying this because I'm like, I don't know if I would necessarily want to talk about the past either, but I think it has to happen. And it's not happening in a way to make anyone feel bad or to blame anyone. I just feel like there are things that need to be said because if they're not said, then I feel like there's an opportunity for them to fester in the back of your mind. And so it's like you take this person back, y'all end up reconciling, whatever. You take them back, they take you back, y'all take each other back. And in the back of your mind, since you never had this conversation of what was going on your end, and since they never had the conversation of what was going on their end, it's like it's just sitting at the back of your mind. So as these little things happen, it might cause things to boil over a little bit. And then it turns into the situation where it feels like you're repeating the old cycles, and like now you're in this space in the future where you're like, wow, like should I walk away or should I stay? Because it seems like nothing changed, and you might try to decide to cut somebody out, but in reality it's like if you would have had that conversation in the first place, if you would have addressed it in the first place, then maybe something could have changed. Because sometimes people don't realize that something is an issue, and sometimes people don't realize that something bothers you. And if someone is doing something that bothers you, or if someone is doing something that bothers you, or if there is and or was an issue and they repeat it but you didn't make them aware of it, they might not be aware of it, and it's just going to continue to eat at you. So just put it out there up front. And then if things fall out accordingly, and then if things like go bad, you proceed accordingly, right? But on one hand, it's kind of sort of like you can't really blame somebody if you never really communicate what was going wrong. And so I think that's why communication will be so important. And I think it's going to be difficult, and it's almost going to feel like communication or talking about it's going to feel like it's sabotaging the relationship because this 7 of Swords, when all actuality is just something that needs to be done. Because I think this 5 of Swords is talking about something, it's like a difficult conversation that has to be had because it's necessary. And then the Seven of Swords coming after the Knight of Cups is like, well, if I have this conversation, then it's going to sabotage like what we're working towards. Like that's the feeling, but in reality, it's like Queen of Swords, man. You got to speak your truth. So the two cards that came out at the top are the first chakra, Archangel Michael, and the Garden and the Gate in reverse. So we have Michael and Gabriel. That is like air and fire, right? Michael with the sword, and then the Queen of Swords. That's interesting. And the first chakra is the root. Oof. There's an element of deep work and deep healing that needed to occur to fix this. And maybe that's what some of the conversation is going to be about. You sort of like gauging, asking them, okay, like, if this is the space that you were in last time, if this is the reason why you did whatever you did that led to us not being together still, what have you done to make sure that that doesn't happen again? Right? Because I feel like if they have an answer, then it can suggest the amount of work that they've potentially done. And if they don't, or if they don't know why, then there's a likelihood that it can happen again because they haven't even addressed the root cause of why like they acted the way that they acted. And so I think that's a lot of the reason why this separation happened. And that's a lot of the healing that needed to take place in the meantime. And with the Angel of Love upright, and with like all of these cups on the table, this is a lot of cups for Aries season. But, post Mercury shadow and Pisces, there's the 10 of Wands, the 6 of Wands, and the 2 of Wands. So that's the fire. 10, 6, 2 is 18, which is a 9. 9 of Wands could be continuing to fight for something. And then we have 10 cups, 4 cups, the Queen of Cups, 8 cups, the Knight of Cups, and then 5 cups. So, let's see. That's 10 plus 4 is 14, plus 8 is 22, plus 1 is 23, plus 1 is 24, plus 5 is 29. So we have 29 cups and 18 wands. 29 cups is the 2 of Cups. And so 2 of Cups and the 9 of Wands. How many swords do we have? 5 swords plus 7 swords is 12 swords. Plus 1 sword is 13 swords, which is the 4 of Swords. I feel like the 4 of Swords showed up somewhere. Oh, the 4 of Swords came out when everything was laid out. And the 4 of Swords was right after the Knight of Cups. And the 3 of Swords was after the Knight of Pentacles. And then we have 3 Pentacles plus 2 Pentacles. And that's it. So 5 Pentacles. So somebody is still feeling left out. How many swords were there? I just counted it out. 9 wands, 2 cups, 5 pentacles, and 5, 12, 4 swords. 5 pentacles and 4 swords does not sound great. Because I feel like that's somebody being content with, it's like, that's somebody that's like, why did you take me back if like you already knew how I am? Like, why are you trying to change me? Right? And then with the 2 of Cups and the 9 of Wands, it's like, well, because I love you and I thought that you had changed. I thought you loved me too. And I thought you loved me enough to work through everything that you needed to work through to make this relationship work. And this person's just like, that's not how that works. That's not realistic. People don't change. That's someone who is bound to their past. That's somebody who's stuck. That's double energy right there. That's toxic. And you might be like, well, I've done this and I've healed and I've changed. And then they're like, no, you haven't. You're the same old person you've always been. And then, depending on if that takes you off your little empress throne, you might believe them. And then you might just fall all the way back into everything that you worked so hard to get out of. What's this? Walking away was the last card that was face down. And walking away is in the past. 10 of Cups, 4 of Cups, 10 of Wands. And then walking away is under it. And then in the future on the bottom is the Angel of Love and Gabriel, 5th chakra. And the future in the top is 1st chakra, Michael, and what was this again? And Garden in the Gate in reverse. I actually want to read what the Garden in the Gate in reverse is really quick, because I've been reading a lot today. This is number 30, which is interesting. Is the video done uploading? The video is done uploading. It's processing now. Processing now. Let me read the Garden in the Gate real quick, and then I will shut this down. This is interesting. This is not quite how I had hoped Aries season would start, but you know, March opened up. March 1, I was feeling amazing. By March 5, things were what they were. So spring actually came early this year. Aries season started on February 19th at like 10. It was like right after 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. So it started on the 19th here in America. And usually it doesn't start until the 21st. But the sun slid into Aries. So, yeah. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the Garden and the Gate. I'm looking for the Garden and the Gate. I feel like I've read this card before, actually. I'm hungry. It's time for me to get some food. Food. It's time to get some food. This is 30. Oh, my nose. I'm about to sneeze. I got allergies. About to sneeze. The Garden and the Gate. So, the Garden and the Gate is abundant prosperity and staying safe. I'm going to flip these colors so I can read it. I'm going to grab this card so I can show it. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being there. The whole world's thinking. In reverse, if this card is reversed, it indicates the happy choice to open the door to a more spiritual pursuit. You may have been obsessed with worldly issues before, but your readiness to go deeper is now here. Many people believe that they cannot live in a material world, make lots of money, and engage in spiritual priorities at the same time. But you now realize that this isn't true. In fact, you can bring this wonderful spiritual focus to any endeavor. And when you do, you'll find that beyond your garden, the universe is willing to fill your life with beauty and joy. Expect the unexpected, for joyous synchronicity abounds. So that is actually a super great in reverse. I wonder what it meant upright. So I think that also means that that's like, that was the element of healing, right? So like if you've become more spiritual, if you've gone through all of this deep healing and going through all that deep healing, you've got this connection where like, you know, you're taken care of, and through that connection and this deep spirituality and healing, that's what's really put you into this abundant Empress energy. If the person who comes back isn't on the same spiritual like vibe, and they don't have to be like super spiritual, right? Like you, it's just that like, if they're not on the same vibe, if they're so like toxic and nasty and like bound to a whole bunch of stuff that's like makes them toxic and nasty, and if they're not doing anything to address it, then Queen of Swords, cut ties, move on. And that's what I got. Ooh, a little bit less than an hour. It's still a little longer than it had to be, but it is what it is. All right, so daily upload number 4 is almost done. I don't know what these things are. Honestly, I'm just like, cards come out and I talk. Yesterday was a heavy processing day. I cried. Today, I didn't cry. The day before yesterday, I didn't cry. I don't know. I feel like Earth is cleansing some stuff, and I'm still deep in the feminine energies, and so I don't know what is happening. But honestly, I'd rather be in the feminine energies than the masculine energies right now, because it seems like the masculine energies might have it a little rough. Y'all might have it a little rough. So, and that's interesting that the Five of Swords and the Queen of Swords came out, because the other day, the King of Swords came out with the Ten of Swords, and the Queen of Swords came out with the Five of Swords, and they were looking at each other rather than looking away from each other. Last message from this deck. I'm going to do this, so the video is basically over, but I do like to get a last and final message from the cards before I put them away. And I still got to post a card today. Okay, I'll take this. Well, you didn't come out, so you'll come out if you want to. Maybe someone needs to come out. Maybe they're going to try to make it work, but like they're still in the closet. And so like that's the reason why it's not working. Maybe not. Is this adjacent possibilities? This is adjacent possibilities. Came out kind of like that. Adjacent possibilities. Ooh. This is like something coming in back to back. So you could have like something not too great come in, followed by something that's actually better for you. And so if you take too much time in the not too great, then you might miss out on the something better for you. And then the something better for you might move on while you are focused on the not too great. And I think like things are going to work out so quickly though. It's like you're going to be able to know and tell immediately, but like communicate, talk, pay attention. If you do the thing where maybe in the past you would like excuse some of their behaviors, if you do that again, you might get stuck in something again. I don't know. This is an interesting Four of Swords and the King of Wands. I've been seeing that King of Wands so much lately. King of Wands, King of Gabriel. I got the King of Wands from the dice today. Page of Pentacles just come out on the table. I feel like the Page of Pentacles is saying it's time to just go on and plant a new seed. Go on and plant a new seed. Okay. Oof. Oof. The cards that just came out, 10 of Cups, the Empress, which is nice. 10 of Cups and the Empress, followed by Karma, followed by the Knight of Swords, followed by the King of Swords. So, I'm looking at it this way because the only thing moving is the Knight of Swords. And so I'm starting with the Knight of Swords. And it's moving from the King to the Knight of Swords. But the King, as he's coming back to communicate, is going to have to go through this karma to reach the Empress and then get this 10 of Cups. And so if your King of Wands has gone through this karma and has healed to approach you as this Empress and to make a worthy offer, it's not the Emperor, so I'm like, oh, but you'll be able to tell if it'll work or not. That's too much. What was at the bottom of the deck, though? At the bottom of the deck is the Queen of Cups. Ooh, somebody's like, oh, cutting to the Ace of Cups. Somebody's like, oh, he's changed. He's not the same. He's changed. Has he, sis? Did he change or is he playing? 6 of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Maybe he did change. Okay, give me one card. One card to end this out, please. One card to end this out, please. I don't even like how like relationshipy that was, because I don't know if that's like general at all. Somebody might be coming back. Temperance is the card that fell out. At the bottom of the deck is the Hierophant. There's that Hierophant again. Did Temperance come out on top of the Hierophant? No. The Hierophant came out on top of the Sun. Temperance came out. I don't remember. Temperance, though. I don't know if the time to pick this up is necessarily yet. Okay. So the Sun is still behind the Hierophant. So the Temperance, the Hierophant, and the Sun, I think it's going to require time. So maybe they won't come back perfect, but they're going to come back as somebody that you can work with. And they're going to come back as someone that you can build with and create that foundation that will lead to the Sun. And you'll be able, like I said, you'll be able to tell fairly quickly. You'll be able to tell fairly quickly if this is someone that you can work with or not. And so maybe like don't necessarily get too hung up on overthinking it. I don't know. This is weird. I don't know, Aries season. It seemed like a little bit of Mercury retrograde stuff still happening and going on. So maybe by the second decade it'll pick up. And actually, I am going to pull one last card. Oh, I've officially crossed an hour, but that's fine. I make these however long I want to make them, and folks can watch however long they want to watch, if they want to watch. And if they don't want to watch, that's fine with me. But I do want to get one of these Archangel Power cards because I just love it. I don't know. I'm loving the guidance from these cards lately. Okay, that didn't want to shuffle. Let's see. Ow. There we go. Kinda. Give me one message to wrap this up. There we go. That's how we shuffle. One message to wrap this up. One to wrap this up. Okay. They flipped over in the deck. So we have two cards. Left on the bottom of the deck is 13, Peace. Archangel Azrael. Release the past. There is a more enriching future coming. Let go and let God. And 13 Peace is the energy of death. Let go and let God. And then the cards that came out are 16, Change Your Life, and the 4 of Raphael. These came out, Change Your Life, Peace, and I think at the time it was the 6 of Raphael, came out yesterday. They were sitting at the top of the bottom of the deck. And I ended up pulling them because the Reaper came out, Death. This is interesting. So the 4 of Michael says, seek out other possibilities. Look for the magic in life. Be aware of your own emotions. And then Change Your Life says, a sudden revelation that offers freedom. Break free of procrastination. Embrace the opportunities that change brings. Lots of change and lots of letting go of the past. So this one coming back, it might not be it, sis. It might not be it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff is saying that this ain't it. I feel like a lot of stuff is saying that this ain't it. Proceed with caution is what I will say. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Zelda, for stopping in. I appreciate it so much. Especially with you being at work. I'm glad to hear that you still have work. I hope it isn't too busy. Thank you for being one of the people making impacts in the healthcare industry right now, doing their best to take care of us. I'll catch y'all later. I hope everyone's having a magnificent day. Yeah, I'm about to go get some food because I'm hungry. And I might take a nap because I want some sleep.